here today in my painting smock, ready to try something new. So today we are going to be painting some book edges and I am super excited. So I started following this Instagram page and I'll pop them up on the screen somewhere, but they're called The Painted Page and they do hand painted edges of books and I just think it is the coolest thing. And I've seen so many really cool like special edition books with sprayed edges and I just would love to try my hand at it. Have no idea how it's gonna turn out, but I'm really excited to try this out today. So I figured we could do it together, see how it looks. Hopefully I don't ruin any books. I'm gonna be trying 2 books today, so we'll see what happens. But I have a setup with paint, some clamps, and yeah, so let's get started. Oh, also, I will link below the video that I watched that gave me the most information that I found the most helpful with trying to learn how to do this process. So with that being said, let's jump into it and get painting some books. I'm gonna do the Hocus Pocus book only because it's not that I don't care about this book, but I don't think this is going to be a book that I am going to be reading all the time. So if it gets, you know, a little messed up, I don't think I'm going to be super upset about it. But in other videos, I saw that people taped along the edge to keep the paint from the cover, but some people were ripping the insides of their books because of the tape. So I decided that just putting paper and taping it around would probably be the best option. So I'm taking 2 pieces of paper and I'm just sliding them inside the cover as far in as I can. And then I'm just going to fold this under on all sides. So then this part that's going to be painted is not going to get on the cover at all. So I will go ahead and do that right now. Okay, now we have our book all ready. The only spot that is not covered is right here because I don't really know how to like get the paper over that spot. So I'm just gonna be really careful right along this edge. I was trying to decide if I was going to just do black on this book, but the only thing is that the cover is mostly black, so I thought it would be fun to do black, and then green. But then I'd have to be really careful on these corners. But I just think that would be really cool and stand out a little more. Or should I just do green? I think I decided I'm going to try this one green, and we'll see. Just because the other book that I'm doing is going to be black, and then this cover is mostly black, so I think doing a color other than black would kind of make it stand out a little more. So I'm going to get this book in my clamp and I'll get a better angle so that you guys can kind of see better what I'm doing. And then, yeah, we'll get painting. And I'm really nervous, but I'm really excited. just finished this one and it's looking really, really good. And in the video that I watched, she recommended letting it dry, not clamped. So that's what we're gonna do with this, and then we are going to see how it turns out. And we are going to move on to the next book, which I actually am very proud of myself because I did do some sneaky magic and I did prep this one last night with the black. And this one is actually the X Hex, which I got in my last video if you watched that one. And on the cover it has these really pretty like little stars. It's a black cover with stars and some blue details and whatever. So I painted this black, and then I thought we could try painting little stars on the black to try a little bit more detail on this one. So I wanted the black to be completely dry before I move on. So we are going to try out the little details and see what we can do. I haven't like tried to separate any of the pages yet, so we will see. I might have done this one like with a little bit too much paint. I might have done it a little thick, but I'm excited to see how this one turns out. How it turned out. I also did the top off camera and the bottom. So I'm really curious to see how this dries. I'll probably let it dry for a couple hours and then I will come back later today and go through each page and separate them out and see how it looks. I'm really curious to see how it looks. I hope they turned out good, but I will check back in with you later when they've dried for a few hours. We will separate the pages and check them out.
One eternity later.
Sorry, the lighting is not super good because it is a lot later now, but we have let the books dry. And I am going to gently remove the gal recommended like a letter opener. Let me see if I can find one. Okay, I have this really old letter opener, but we're gonna try and see if this helps because I don't want to hurt any of my pages. So essentially what I need to do is get this paper off and then we can start separating the pages. Okay, look at it all together. Oh my gosh, it looks so good. And then I will show you. Look at it. I'm so glad I went with the green on this one. It looks so good. I'm using this as a stand, so I gotta put it back. So what I found, since this was the first one that I did, that I think I used a little too much paint on this, so the pages are really stuck together, whereas on the green one it was a lot easier to remove the protective paper because I didn't use as much paint. Well, I used like 2 layers of paint, but I did them really thin, like really thin coats. So I think that that was helpful in making sure that the pages don't stick as well. So I'm curious to see what this looks like when I actually go and separate all the pages. But something that the gal said, whose video that I watched, is to take your book. Oh, the dust jacket just fell off. Let me get you at a better angle and I'll show you kind of like the tips that she gave for kind of getting your pages separated. Okay, so she said to take your book like this and to like go like this. And she said it doesn't hurt the pages or anything, but she said to like kind of get them bending, and that'll help separate a lot of it at the bottom. And then to go the other way, this was so wrong, but hers looked amazing, so we're gonna give it a try. And then she said to try to start like fanning out the corners, and then just kind of do a couple more of those kinds of bends to get things loosened up. And then she said you essentially just then have to go through each individual page and separate it like that. But I definitely think that the other book that I did is going to be, I think that I'm gonna have an easier time with it. We will go through each page and separate it. I think that this is 2 pages, oh no. Haha. So I think the lesson here is the less paint, the better. It's starting to like show some white because the paint is kind of chipping off because I think I used too much paint. Oh yeah, you can see it up here. Right there. So we will see how this looks at the end, and we will see how the green one looks at the end. I will come back and show you the final results when I have gone through this whole book.
2,000 years later.
It is the next day, and I spent most of the evening separating the pages. I just sat and watched the TV show Lock and Key and just separated the pages very tediously. We had one that turned out really good, one that turned out just okay. And I will explain why I think it did not turn out as well. So we'll start with the one that turned out really good, which is this green one. Like, it turned out so good. Like, you can see, like, it's perfect. And like, it didn't bleed onto any of the pages, and I didn't rip any of these pages, and they didn't stick together like nearly as bad. Like, this one was so easy to get apart and took me like, I think less than a full episode, which was way easier than the other one. This one, on the other hand, I think the problem here was that I used too much paint. So you can see the top turned out pretty good still. And then the bottom also turned out fairly decent, but this side, some of the paint chipped off of the pages. Oh, you can see it kind of right there, and left some white, and there, it's just because there was too much paint on it that some of the paint lifted when I separated the pages, unfortunately. But I think it still looks really cute, and you can see kind of the vibe with the front of the book. I still think it looks really cute, but I will Like with this one, I used a lot less paint and used a lot thinner of layers, and that is definitely the way to go because this one came apart way easier. This one's still, I did like kind of tear a couple of pages, but it's still, you know, like very readable, like no issues there. And the tears, they were very, very minimal, like just little snags, like not even a full tear. I'm not seeing any of the pages with little snags on them, but that only happened on a couple pages of this book. But next time I will definitely be trying a pattern again, just using a lot less paint. And I think the issue is that the black paint was just a lot thicker compared to the green paint. The green paint was a lot thinner, so I think it worked better and did not stick nearly as bad. And there was no like ripping or like anything that happened with this one. But overall, I think they turned out really fun. I love that I went with the green on this one. I think it's so fun and like matches the text right here, and it's just really cute. And then this one I still think is really cute and it matches the vibe. It's just not like perfect on the outer sides of the pages, but that's okay. It still is cute and it gives it a weathered look, I guess you could say. So I would like to try this again at some point, but it was a lot of work. So I don't think this is gonna be something that I do all the time, but yeah, every once in a while for a book that I'm like super excited about, maybe I'll do it and just make sure to do it with really, really thin coats of paint. So anyway, I think that's gonna be it for this video. I hope you had fun. I hope you enjoyed watching, and maybe this video inspired you to paint the edge of a book that you love. And if so, please send me a picture of it on Instagram. I would love to see any book that you guys do fun painted edges or just cool things with your books. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I will talk to you in my next one. Happy reading. Bye.